played out.
Okay, I'm gonna set up my timer. Okay. So for today, real quick, it was a down day, over 1%, most of the indexes and high volatility. For tomorrow, it looks like a mixed bag, but I would say it's kind of flat and it could continue on a downward direction, but it's too early to tell. Um, I have this up here real quick for those who are interested at a high glance. Vermont, close call. Massachusetts, Trump. Virginia, Trump. North Carolina, Trump. Arkansas,
Should
Trump.
we be seeing anything?
Huh?
Should we be seeing anything?
Oh, yes. Hold on a second. Why didn't I share? I guess I missed that step. Yes. I guess I'll go back to where I was. Show you real quick what I was doing. So yes, this is what I was talking about, that today was a down day, close to over 1% on most major indices and high volatility. Pre-market, mixed bag, but like I said, close to the flat line, and it's too early to tell if it's going to continue to go down or if it's going to bounce back. But hopefully the downtrend and a pullback is deemed and expected, and it should follow. So that's that. Got 13 minutes left. And then I was showing this map, all of the states that are in the Super Tuesday at a high level glance. Nikki Haley is close call on most of these, over on some state 25%, 20%. This one was too early to tell. Colorado, Texas, Trump, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to get into any of the details, but you can go into this website and take a look if you're interested. Okay, let's see. Okay, to trading, we're gonna just go to the top 5 at the bottom and at the top and bottom. Target was the winner. It had earnings today, and based on this, it was good earnings. It jumped up in the pre-market when it reported the earnings, and it did well, above 20% or so, and it just kept going up. If we look at the daily, here's this big, gigantic, massive candle, and we had predicted this, that it would get to around this area or so. So here's the outcome. EBC finally is having a good day, had a good day. The candle was massive up because they had a couple of rough days.
We can't see anything, but where do you want to go? Screen.
How come you can't see anything? All right, I'll try again. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the review again. Target had good earnings. Basically, I would say flat. It did most of the uptrend after it got earnings. And here's the massive candle, big gigantic up trend, and it got to the support area that we had anticipated. 3%, over 3% to EB. Here's the big candle. It was about time. It had a lot of rough days, and it said, hey, not this time. So here's it finally broke the trend and had a great day. BJ's is on hard buy, notice that, and it has earnings on 2 days. So it was very impressive because I think some of the retailers had done good. So that's why, especially Target, it made this bounce up like this. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Walgreens also on hard buy. It has earnings in 23 days. Here's Dollar Tree, 8 days to go. And it's still continuing on its little steppy. But, we want to see if it gets to that 150 area before it goes down. And Walmart. And as you can see, Target, BJ's, Walgreens, Dollar Trees, these are kind of retailers type of thing. So here it is. Walmart continuing its march on 52-week high, all-time highs. So
You
it's
think
a trend.
sympathy play?
Huh?
You think it's a sympathy play?
I think it's a sympathy play. And this week is going to be sympathy for the retailers. So if one of them does really good, it goes along with it. XOM is on the top of the list. Notice is also on hard buy. And as you can see, everything was down, but this was up, and it's continuing its upward trend. Every single day, even if it has a red candle, it's been doing uppity up. Okay, and then let's turn it over to the losers. Today was mostly a down day. There you go. Leanna had predicted this yesterday. Basically, try to get in a pop. We had it on the notes, I believe, but we didn't review that. And if you got close to $3, like she said, and then wrote it down, you would have been 8% richer if you had taken this. Vana, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you continue to go down, but that's how it works. Intel is continue in a sliding trend. It's not 40 yet, but it got to 42.69, and here's the big reversal. We want to see if it gets to this 40 area for a potential test of buying, because sometimes when you get this price, it does continue to go down or whatever. So, here's the opportunity, and maybe just start with a few shares and then see if it goes further down. DraftKings didn't have the greatest of days. Basically, it went down almost close to 5%. So if you were in that,
DraftKings is due for a come down. It has to reset itself for the next year. Try to buy it at the low. It'll come back during football season. But it
so
has
yeah,
done well this year.
yes. So as you can see, it got to all-time highs, I believe. Is it all-time highs there? No. Oh, it got to this. It didn't get to this level. It got to this sort of level. Or it got to close to this level, and now it's coming down. But it's been doing very well, and congratulations to DraftKings. And if you got it at this low right here and got some out today, good for you. We don't really trade CRM. We like to look at Tesla. This had a rough day today. Very rough. There was some Germany explosion slash arson thing, a lot in the news today, and this is what caused this downward moment since the beginning of the day. It actually started last night, but this was the cause of it. As you can see, it's getting down here close to the level. I don't see why it wouldn't get there tomorrow. It does about an average of $9 or close to 8.50.
The washer restarted.
Hold on a second. I'm getting questions. Hold on.
Okay. So while you're on mute, I'll take over and we'll talk about Tesla. So Tesla has always we've talked about the 160 mark here, and other people have said 180, but it's just basically with Tesla, let it go until it stops and reverses itself. And maybe if other players like Fisker, I actually wanna I had saw this video about Fisker that I thought was really good that maybe we'll get a chance to watch. But other players, Fisker, all these other EV companies, if they kind of go by the wayside, maybe everything will consolidate with just Tesla, and then Tesla will be kind of like the top dog or whatever. But we gotta
I
see.
agree.
So yeah. But
Yes,
maybe if maybe we can do this Fisker video that we can show that if we get a chance, because I thought it was a good video.
yes. I think you're right about the top dog situation here. Tesla is gonna win, especially Fisker, Lucid, and Rivian are really hard. Um, they're they're not in great shape. They're losing money, and this company has been here for over 20, sorry, 10 years. The other ones just started. They know what they're doing, and yeah. So let's see, we got about 4 minutes.
I will say that I thought Fisker, they did, based on the video that I saw, they seem to have designed a better car, it seems like, but I think it's because they started out late and like kind of like Tesla soaked up all of the money for EVs and got a lot of the rebates and stuff that Fisker wasn't able to get.
Correct, because this company has been there, like I said, like 10 plus years, and a lot of the market, uh, and
Not that I agree
ish.
that people should buy an EV car. I think it's a terrible idea. But if you were going to, or you had to, like, hey, buy an EV or die, it would seem like, I think it seemed like Fisker would probably, the way they designed it, would be a better EV because they have like this thing where you can have like the solar panel is a part of the car and it's like on top of the car. So at least even if you don't plug in, you could get charged from the solar panel, which I thought was kind of interesting. But maybe
Yes,
we'll see the video and see that.
yes, that's good. Yes, they got late in the game. Plus, there's all these other Chinese EVs that you have to contend with as well. Apple has been having it rough. Muy rougho. Muy rougho. Here's the level of interest here. This 169 area should be on the notes, because I think even Neil said this would be a good area to kind of buy it. But if it breaks this area here, the next area we had said 150, but then really 140 or so.
Yeah, let's see how it does.
Let's
It
see
is
how it does tomorrow.
it's
Uh,
starting to turn downward for the 50-day. Let's just say that.
yes, so but this is something that you want to keep in mind of, because if you get this at a great price, it's the ticket to go. Because I mean, Apple is not gonna, explode and crash. But if you can, anytime soon, but if you can get it at a good price when it keeps going up, it goes up.
What's
So
the old
yeah,
saying? Buy a good company on a bad day.
yes, ma'am. So we want to continue to observe it. Like I said, I may even want to put an order in just to see, so we can have it and make sure we get that dip. So that's Mansana for you. We're gonna take a look at Softy, and this is probably gonna be it for me, for just this quick summary review. Softy had a rough day, and it's a downslide. Basically, it was a downslide. Um, it's still above the 50 period, and it's still above the 200. Until it gets below this, it's a trend, it's a upward trend until it's not. So hopefully it breaks down like Apple and stuff like that, but I don't believe that until I see it. This is a good indication, but we want to see it continue, because every time it does this kind of nonsense, it picks back up. So I will continue. Let's do Google because I still have 40 seconds left. Google L. Interesting. This one was very volatile. It went up and then went down and then it went back up and then it kind of slide, but it was up and down today. This would have been a really great one to get it both ways. This has been weaker than the other ones. As you can see, it's in a continuation downward slide, and now it's below the 200. Will it continue? Let's see if it gets to this level. But we have a line in the sand here around this 120, 115 area. And that's it. I don't have that many notes, but a lot of retailers are going to be reporting in the next couple of days. And we can just take a look at this. Oh, it did. I would have thought that it would put so yes, Target, BJ's, as you can see, all of these, Nikete in 16 days. That's it. That's all I
Do
have.
you mind if I play the Fisker video?
I do not. I would appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
I think it would add some.
Yeah, add some, because we were talking about it. I think it would add some value, and I enjoy these type of videos. Thank you.
A respected auto designer behind some much-loved and popular cars, he nearly 20 years ago turned his attention toward making EVs. And the rest is history, but not always a happy one.
For over a year, the committee has been examining DOE's loan to Fisker, and the facts that emerged are deeply troubling.
But he is back with a new plan: make cheaper EVs. However, his new venture is, once again, facing obstacles.
I would not be the least bit shocked if Fisker is bankrupt before the end of 2024.
In its earnings release for the fourth quarter of 2023, Fisker said there is substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern. A quick glance of the headlines over the last several months paints a troubling picture of Fisker, the American EV company founded in 2016. Its share price plummeted in late 2023, and as of February 22nd, was still trading below $1. That put it in danger of being delisted by the New York Stock Exchange.
We are right in this sort of negative sentiment of high interest rates, which probably will be dampening somewhat the outlook. And all that means that you're seeing a stock price falling for all the EV companies, and it doesn't necessarily reflect the value of the company. And I think some analysts and investors have a hard time to see who actually is going to be the winners.
The U.S. regulator, known as the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, has two open probes into the company, one for unintended movement or rollaway risk, another for brake failure. In a comment to CNBC, a Fisker representative said they have made some system and software updates and are fully cooperating with NHTSA. Its first and only production vehicle, the Ocean, has received some tough reviews from prominent outlets. The Pear, a small crossover, was supposed to begin production in 2024, but has now been delayed until 2025. At the same time, it's having trouble getting its current model into the hands of buyers. It had $530 million in inventory at the end of the fourth quarter 2023, and its end-of-year production total far outpaced deliveries. Typically, production and delivery numbers for mature automakers are close to parity. For example, in 2022, VW Group sales were nearly 98% of production. Of course, in the fourth quarter of 2017, when Tesla was ramping up the Model 3, deliveries of that sedan were only about 63% of production.
We had people, all over the US, all over Europe, and they just even couldn't get to us to try the car because we only had two facilities, really. We had one in Los Angeles, one in New York.
The company had about 45,000 reservations as of this interview, and it was in the process of filling about 2,500 orders. The Ocean is what Fisker hopes will propel it towards its founder's other ambitious plans. 3 more vehicles by the end of 2026. The Pear, the Alaska, its entrant into the lucrative but competitive US pickup truck market, and the Ronin, its supercar. The Ocean is currently made at a factory in Graz, Austria, owned by the $36 billion Canadian supplier Magna International. Magna Steyr manufactures several other models and lines, such as the Mercedes G-Class and BMW 5 Series.
We didn't have to spend billions of dollars building a factory, and we also didn't have to spend a long time teaching people how to make a car. So we get a high-quality car from the get-go.
Fisker made money on the first vehicles it sold. The trouble is, importing the Ocean into the US means the car isn't fully eligible for the $7,500 federal tax credit.
We are actually eligible if we lease the car. We already priced our car to be competitive, not actually factoring in any incentives, because I don't think you can base a business model on potential incentives from politicians, because that could change. But we are planning eventually to manufacture here in the US.
In 2022, the company confirmed it was collaborating with Taiwanese Apple iPhone manufacturer Foxconn on production of the pair in a US-based factory. It's unclear whether that is still on track.
That's the plan, to build the pair in the States.
Okay, is that Foxconn who you're talking to?
We are talking to several partners, but we haven't made a final decision yet.
The relationship with Foxconn that was supposed to yield the Fisker pair seems to be on the rocks, or at least that was the impression I got the last time I spoke to Henrik about a month ago. There are no suitable contract manufacturers based in North America that could build that for him.
That spells further trouble for the Alaska, Fisker's pickup truck. If it can't be made in the US, it will face the additional 25% duty the US places on all imported pickup trucks, known as the chicken tax. There are also some personnel and governance concerns among some investors. Fisker is a family business. Henrik started the company with his wife, who is the CFO and COO.
It's best practice not to bring family members into an organization in management or, probably any level. That's a minor issue in the grand scheme of things.
A non-minor issue is the turnover of senior executives. Fisker is on its third chief accounting officer since late 2023. The instability has contributed to the company's stock price freefall. Shares have fallen from an all-time high of $28.50 in February 2021 to 54 cents in February 2024.
At one time, this company was worth multi-billions upon billions of dollars, and now it's just kind of struggling to survive.
To many observers, this story sounds worryingly familiar. Henrik Fisker began his career as a designer.
So when did you know you wanted to design cars?
And I think I must have been 7, 8 years old, because I was sitting in the back of my father's Saab 96, which is a very old model, in the back seat. And I saw this Maserati passing, and I just remember seeing it look like a spaceship, and I thought, I want to work with cars.
Among the cars he designed was the BMW Z8, which many may know from the James Bond film. He also designed the Aston Martin DB9 and the Aston Martin Vantage.
I think it's still today the best-selling Aston Martin of all time.
He had a genuinely distinguished career as an automotive designer.
But his decision to found Fisker Automotive in 2007 was the start of what some have called a long, sad story, a cautionary case study, or simply a debacle.
He's a great designer. I remain unconvinced that he's a great CEO.
By 2013, Fisker had secured more than $1 billion from investors, including famed Silicon Valley venture capital firm Kleiner Perkins. It also got a nearly $200 million loan from the Department of Energy, part of a larger planned $528 million package. That would later make the Fisker name fodder for the ridicule of Silicon Valley and ammunition for political opponents of government funding for green companies. Fisker's first car, the Karma, was a plug-in hybrid. The starting price, $102,000.
The aim of that car was really to create the world's most sustainable car at that time. And I think we were the first to use reclaimed wood from the California fires. We had a vegan interior, which nobody understood what that meant at that time. And it was really an electric vehicle with a range extender, which we today call a plug-in hybrid. It also had the solar roof at the time. The first car was bought by Leonardo DiCaprio.
And the vehicle actually got pretty good reviews. It was very good looking, which all Fisker's vehicles typically are as a designer.
But it was plagued by production delays and the sorts of troubles that can affect cars from young startups. The Karma actually broke down in the middle of a Consumer Reports test drive, earning it a failing grade from the widely watched group. The car never made it to large-scale production. Meanwhile, Fisker Automotive suffered a saga of financial troubles that culminated in the freezing and partial clawback of the government loan, bankruptcy, mass layoffs, and an ensuing lawsuit, congressional hearings, and ultimately the sale of the company's assets to a Chinese firm. That company continues to release cars under the Karma name. Henrik Fisker says he left the company before the reported layoffs and bankruptcy. Fisker blamed the company's failure on the bankruptcy and collapse of a US-based battery supplier. In 2016, he formed VLF Automotive with former GM executive Bob Lutz and Gilbert Villarreal, an industry veteran. Later that year, Henrik Fisker mounted a comeback with a new company that had a nearly identical name and nearly identical logo. Fisker's first new vehicle, the punny E-Motion, was unveiled at CES in 2018. As of 2023, the car has never made it to production. Instead, Fisker later made the Ocean, a mid-size SUV with a starting price of just under $40,000. Some have said Fisker's first venture suffered in part because it was ahead of its time. Unfortunately, the current Fisker has suffered poor timing too, but of a different kind. Mounting a comeback in the middle of a global pandemic proved difficult.
Tesla came along and they were in the fortunate position of zero interest rate environment. They were able to raise huge sums of capital and not have to take on any huge amounts of debt, still losing billions of dollars a year. Unfortunately for Henrik Fisker, by the time, they got into starting production of the Fisker Ocean, that environment had completely changed.
Fisker's use of contract manufacturing and a heavy reliance on suppliers is almost the opposite of Tesla's hard lean toward vertical integration. And while the approach does have the advantages of relying on outside expertise and saving capital on the front end, it does come with drawbacks.
We would rather go with contract manufacturing because we can do much faster growth, but manufacturing for us as a startup has not been an issue at this point in time.
With Fisker's approach, you have a lot less control over the quality of the parts. And this is not a problem unique to Fisker. If suppliers have decades-long relationships with established automakers that are selling in huge volumes, and you've got startups that are selling in relatively small volumes, that you're not even sure you're going to be able to get paid by them.
As with Fisker's six-figure Karma, he calls the Ocean the world's most sustainable car. The Ocean has a maximum range of 360 miles, which Fisker says is a segment best. The top trim comes with a solar panel on the roof that adds as much as about 2,000 miles of range per year if you park it outside in a very sunny place. To solve its delivery troubles and reduce its mounting inventory, Fisker is revamping its entire distribution network, going from a Tesla-style direct sales model in the US to a dealer model. Fisker signed several dealer partners in the US as of February 28th and said it expected to add more within weeks. Over 250 dealers in North America and Europe have expressed interest in selling the cars.
What it allows us to do is to get our vehicles out to these dealers where people can go around the corner where they live and test drive the car and buy the car, get the car serviced. So that, we believe, is really changing our bottleneck that we had in 2023.
Fisker has burned a lot of cash already, needless to say, and needs to conserve capital as much as possible. So the dealership model, I think, is appropriate as a way of managing cash burn.
The company is currently carrying more than $1 billion in debt, and so managing the Ocean rollout is crucial to getting its next two cars out.
We know that this company has struggled with particularly delivery of its vehicles to customers with just one model. So will Fisker be able to launch? I think it's appropriate to be skeptical about that.
The pair is still more or less on its current schedule, Fisker says. Fisker is trying to share parts across vehicles as much as possible to reduce part inventory and simplify production. The pair also reduced parts overall by 35%, which Fisker says helped bring the price of the vehicle down to $29,000.
I would really like to see Fisker succeed because he's got some fascinating ideas. I'm just not sure that Fisker can succeed as an independent company right now in this economic environment.
The company is also quietly trying out some options beyond making and selling cars.
There's an 8K that released a couple weeks ago that, like, one of your debt holders relaxed some of the terms of their agreement with you around their debt, allowing the company to license.
How did you find out about this? So, we can license quite a lot. For example, right now we're talking to a large German supplier. They want to license our unique roof spoiler. We also can license our platform. Basically, we have technologies, we have platforms that we could license out or do collaborations on, and that's something that we're exploring.
After its shares plummeted in late 2023, Henrik Fisker released a statement saying concerns about the company were overblown. On February 29th, the company announced it would cut 15% of its workforce. According to Reuters, Fisker is in talks to receive a potential investment from Japanese automaker Nissan. The partnership would help with manufacturing, low cash flow, and development delays. Fisker did not confirm.
One analyst I talked to, expressed a lot of concern about, how much money you're going through. He said, look, I wouldn't be surprised if Fisker's bankrupt by the end of the year. I mean, did you get a lot of questions like this? I mean, how might you respond to it?
Look, you have to deal with that, right? Because we're in a very difficult sector. We are not going through as much money as companies that are building their own factories are having thousands of people, on their payroll. No, I don't share that we are going bankrupt in the end of the year. Unfortunately, I will tell him that. I don't know who it is, but those predictions are sort of easy to make, and then when it doesn't happen, suddenly they disappear, and we don't hear about those false predictions. But hey, it's life. We have to deal with it. We are a public company.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done.
It was a good video.
I thought it was a very good video. And yes, you gotta definitely look at the financials. I think it's unfortunate he just came at the the wrong time, because Tesla had been building itself for years and years. And honestly, I think his cars are actually better, and the design of them is better.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think they look better. They're
You
more
can say that
attractive,
again.
and they have better features. Number one, to have your solar panel right on the car, where you can actually, yeah, you will have to plug in eventually, but you can actually get free power from the sun. That is actually, to me, like a smart idea. So then you get the benefits of, hey, what if I don't have a 240 charger or whatever, fast charger or whatever they call it or whatever.
And it would be an
I have
incentive, especially for those states that are like, California,
yeah,
New
so then you
Mexico,
could say, oh,
Texas,
I could
and
potentially,
Florida, who are, like it would be a good niche for these like southern states, because it's
yeah,
like, up here it's a little bit more difficult because of the cold, but it would be kind of like an incentive, like,
yeah,
oh
you
my
could
gosh,
could
it's sunny
charge
all the time.
without having to necessarily have a fast charger and all of this kind of stuff. At least you could get some uh rays from the sun. And if you have a powerful solar panel and like you said, you're in Southern California, Texas, or whatever, you could potentially charge your car, the slow charge, with just having it outside. So it kind of makes sense if you are going to do an electric car. Yes, I still wouldn't recommend overall buying them with the technology was that, but I could see how that would make more sense. The cars look better, they have better design features than Tesla. And so I kind of feel like, man, like if one company should succeed, I would have thought they seem like, to me, they have a better model, but Tesla's been around for a much longer time. People have bought Teslas, and Elon Musk, he seems to be I don't want to say a magician, but I think what he did is he was able to manufacture something, which is a feat within itself. But then he was able to utilize a lot of the um uh government funds, which Fisker obviously isn't prepared to do. And I just think a lot of
Yeah,
what
and he benefited a lot from, like they said in the video, a low rate environment. Even though the Fisker CEO had a lot of experience in the car industry in terms of design and giving out a final output, he wasn't as experienced, maybe let's say as Elon, being more of a business type and
yeah.
negotiating all these types of deals and then working with others for the final thing of the manufacturing. But I think it was mainly that he was there at the right time. And like you said, I like the cars. I looking at the video and looking at the designs, they look really good. I would buy this over a
Yeah.
Tesla,
Yes, and
but
his
I wouldn't buy a car, an EV car.
yes,
But if I
obviously.
had to, I would. This one would, because it actually looks like a car. The
Yeah,
Tesla is kind of like a foo-foo car. I don't know. It looks like it could break any
pricing is
second.
regular, like his SUV is under 40K, and it's like when the Tesla came out, they were selling those for over 100K, and I thought it was just caca.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
$60,000
like
for a car.
40K for SUV is cheaper than
Yes.
regular gas SUVs are. So to
And
me,
now and also the new thing, the Cybertruck or whatever. That thing is like 70K or 80K. And
yeah,
it's like, come on now.
go down or
It doesn't
whatever.
even look like a truck. It just looks like a box.
So it just surprised. It's like it seemed like his company is more realistic, and they've done some great stuff, I think, ahead of their time, like the video said. But hey, it's like you said, it's not just about, oh, do you make the best cars or whatever, like they say. McDonald's never made the best hamburgers, but they were better at the business of making hamburgers than other people.
Yes,
So yeah.
they had two business in one, because remember what the video said from our famous guy Reinventure. They were a real estate business.
Uh-huh.
McDonald's is a real estate business on top of its quote unquote franchise business that makes burgers. Basically, that's it. That's how they get the money, because they have McDonald's all over the world, all over the
But
world.
they
And
had to get to that point, and they
yes,
were able
they
to.
realized it and they were ahead of the time. It's like, oh, we can have McDonald's everywhere. People can actually run them and we're going to get the royalties. That's it. That's the business. With Tesla is they got the low rate environment. They were running the business of way before Fisker. They don't have the best design, but they have the best backing and they have the most money because they're not in debt.
Yeah. All right.
But they have to be the other thing that Tesla has to keep in their back of the mind, that the Chinese companies are make more EVs than they do. The BYD company, they sell more EVs than Teslas.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
nobody's gonna buy a Chinese EV car.
yes, but you have to still keep that in the back of the mind, that yes, but they're more experiencing in also making those types of cars, but they have their own market in China, which is a lot more people. So that's
Yeah,
it.
if you're trying to sell in China, then yeah,
Mm,
you have a problem.
yes,
But
they
if you're
can't sell
trying to
over here
sell
yet or whatever, but
here or
who
whatever,
knows who knows if that could change in the future. But yeah,
I
that's it. We
doubt.
got it. Huh?
Will buy, I doubt Americans will buy Chinese cars. That's just
Well,
me.
they buy Toyotas.
Well, that's different. That's Japanese cars.
Yes, but you never know. I'm just saying that you have to keep that in the back of the mind, in your mind too. But
Yes, you're right. It's just Japanese mindset is different from Chinese mindset. Japanese are an industrial mindset with the quality of the Japanese. China's mindset is cheap, get them out, whatever. And their cars are different. Yes, it's both Asians, but they're not
Yes, you're right. This they do
business
do
versus
act
the way the
differently,
Chinese do business,
and the mindset is different. Correct.
and the way they do business is different. So,
Let's say that again.
all right, peace
So
out.
it's 9:50.
We'll get out in 5 minutes on the other line for the review.